We have three things we're going to do today, kindergartners, in this video. First of all, we're going to be making our dinosaur, but we're going to be doing that last. I just want to make sure that you have your stuff handy so you can start making it when I start making it. Don't forget, you will need scissors, special pen, glue, and a trash tray. Okay, so the first thing I would like to do is to read a story. Actually, finish reading our ABC Dinosaurs book. So we left off at the letter N. So this is called Nonatosaurus. Was a small-sized cousin to Tyrannosaurus Rex. It was a meat eater and an excellent hunter. So I don't know how small this was. I don't think it was super small. I think he was still kind of big. You wouldn't want to meet him if you were walking down the street. And there is a picture of his skull. Oviraptor fossils have been found near ancient seashores. They probably caught and ate crabs and other kinds of shellfish. Oviraptors also may have eaten eggs stolen from dinosaur and reptile nests. And here is a picture of its skeleton. Pentaceratops males fought to see which one was strongest. They locked their huge horns and pushed and shoved at each other, but they usually stopped before either one was badly hurt. And here is a picture of the skull. So this is probably, I'm guessing, maybe a cousin to the Triceratops maybe, but you've seen other dinosaurs probably that have big frills and stuff like that. Stegosaurus was related to the giant American plant eaters. Its cousins include Apatosaurus, you may know it as Brontosaurus, and Diplodocus. And they have only been able to find the skull of this dinosaur. They have not been able to find any other parts of it. So that's why the picture only shows its head, basically. Rheogosaurus walked on 4 legs, but its long neck made it easy for this dinosaur to eat leaves from high in the trees. At times it may have stood on its rear legs and tail to reach food. So this actually is a plant eater, but it has sharp teeth. Isn't that interesting? Stegosaurus had triangular back plates along with spikes on its tail, which probably served as good protection. And here's another example of scientists not knowing exactly about. It says, for years scientists have puzzled over the arrangement of the plates on the Stegosaurus's back. Some think there were 2 rows of plates. Now many scientists think there was only a single row of alternating plates. So they've been trying to decide how these are really supposed to be arranged. Tyrannosaurus was the greatest of all meat eaters. Scientists cannot agree on how this dinosaur captured its prey. Some believed it ran fast and chased down other animals. Others think the Tyrannosaurus Rex may have moved slowly and eaten animals that were already dead, which would be a little bit like a vulture. And here is the picture of his skeleton. Ultrasaurus was the giant among giants. This long-necked dinosaur was so tall that it could eat leaves from trees 55 feet high. So I don't know if you can remember our classroom, but the part of our classroom that is super tall, if you could take that part of our classroom and put another classroom on top of it, that is how high he could reach to eat leaves. Pretty crazy. Here is a picture of his skull. And Ultrasaurus is the largest dinosaur ever found. And they think it might have been the largest animal to ever live on land. The Velociraptor was a speedy little meat eater. It attacked plant eaters that were up to 5 times larger than itself. So there's a picture of its skeleton. Kind of interesting claws. Okay, this one's a little hard to see because it's camouflaged so well. We learned about camouflage last week, didn't we? Wenontosaurus was a member of the family called domeheads or boneheads. And you could see that this dinosaur kind of has a really big, thick dome. These dinosaurs had extra heavy skulls as round and thick as bowling balls. And here is a picture of its skull. You can see all this extra thickness on its head. I wonder why it had that. Okay, we are on why. Nyangshosaurus was a 2-legged hunter. Its large jaws held saw-edged, dagger-like fangs for biting and holding its prey. There is a picture of its skull. A lot of holes in that skull. And our last one, the Z. Zephyrosaurus was a small 2-legged plant eater, but it was a swift runner. Swift is another way of saying fast. And there is a picture of its skull. Okay, so that is our dinosaur alphabet book. I thought you would enjoy reading it with me. I really love the pictures, how they're so colorful. You don't often think of dinosaurs as being very colorful, but maybe they were and maybe they weren't. We don't really know. So the other thing I wanted to do with you today is show you some more of my dad's fossils. So these are cool. Now this is one that my dad did not find. Somebody just gave it to him. But you can see that there is a fish here. Now the fish is not, see, you can't see the fish if I turn it up sideways. So the fish died at some point in time, and then dirt covered it. Lots of dirt piled up high, and it smushed it. So it is flatter than a pancake, and I believe that basically you can kind of, this is probably like the scales. You can't really see its bones, but as you can also see, this is a very small fish. So if I were to get my pen out, you could see that it's pretty small, and that's probably why it just kind of died, and it left kind of an imprint. Or I don't really want to touch it because the oil from my hand might make it kind of start getting destroyed. This is one that I'm pretty sure my dad found, and you could see that this is a shell. And hopefully you've started figuring out fossils do not have to be dinosaur fossils. In fact, if you want to find dinosaur fossils in California, you will not find them. There are no dinosaur fossils in California, but you can find fish fossils, shells, mammal fossils, but you're not going to find dinosaurs. If you want to find dinosaur fossils, you need to go to like Colorado or some other places in our country. But so this is one that my dad found, and you can see it looks like a shell. So the shell isn't there anymore. That's actually the imprint of the shell that was there. And you can see that now that part might be broken right there, either because it broke, or it might be broken because the shell was broken when it made the imprint. Now these two these two fossils are actually made imprints that are made in something called sandstone. So these are very fragile, and I can actually feel like I'm getting some of the sand off of it, or they could also be limestone. I'm not exactly sure, but you can see that, in fact, this is kind of interesting. You can see that there's two different colors here. There's one color and a darker color. So this kind of shows you how things get in layers. And so there would have been another layer on top of this pushing down on the shell. And that's part of how fossils are formed, is the weight and pressure of the dirt that's on top of them pushing down on them, but also the mineral change that happens when the water leaks through and different minerals change. So I thought you'd enjoy seeing those. So now we're going to get ready to do our dinosaur picture. So this is going to be a long-necked dinosaur. Now, your paper, a little hard to see, this is vertical. We are not doing our paper in a vertical position, which we've done a lot that way. This is horizontal, and that's a little hard to tell because my camera actually fits it quite nicely like that. So you can see we have a lot of green pieces, and we are going to need our scissors and our special pen, which we're going to save, and our glue and our trash tray. Okay, so the first piece I am going to use is my largest green rectangle. This one I am not going to use next, which is the longest one, and I'm not going to use this big one over here. And so now the next one I am going to use is the this one. Okay, so just make sure you can see that. So this is short and fat, and this is kind of long and skinny. So I'm going to be using this one, kind of the longer, a little bit longer one. Okay, so these are the two I'm going to use first. And I'm going to use this one first. Oh, and we have a dinosaur poem, which is a little different. I'm going to set that aside also. Going to use the biggest one first. I'm going to set this one aside, and this is his body. I'm going to cut all four corners. Magic cut that. Okay, so body cut out. Now I'm going to put some glue on this, and when I'm gluing it, I'm not going to glue it right at the edge because I'm going to be sticking things underneath the body, and I am going to glue this right about here. Okay? Okay, now I'm going to take this piece, and we are not doing anything to this piece. It's his neck. So all I have to do here is add some glue to it, and I am going to stick it and slide it so it goes whoops, so it goes underneath, a little ways underneath his body. Okay, now the next piece I'm going to use is this fat green one, and then after that I am going to use the really big one. So this one I'm just going to leave on my paper and have him waiting to go. And this is the next one I'm going to use. This is his head. Okay, once again, cut all four corners and magic cut it. So it looks like an oval when you are done. Okay, got that. Okay, I'm going to add some glue dots to the back of the head, and then I am going to glue the head, and you're going to see I kind of have it touching the back of his neck here, and it's sticking kind of down. Okay? Okay, this is his tail. Okay, so we are going to fold the tail in half down the long thing here, which is the vertical line of symmetry. So fold that in half, and then I'm going to cut it from corner to corner. Now when I cut it, my diagonal, I could cut like that. I'm going to actually cut it, here I'll try to show you. I'm going to actually cut it kind of fat. So I actually kind of added a curve in there. Okay, if you don't do that, it's fine, but it kind of makes the tail look a little better to me, a little fatter. And I guess actually I should have cut it right to the corner. Okay, so his head's on this side, so the tail goes on this side. And I want to try to make it so it looks like the tail is coming out a good, just like in a smooth from his body. So I don't want to have it be kind of funny, and I'm trying to match it up right there. Voila, got his tail. Okay, the last piece we have is our very largest long green rectangle. And you probably have guessed it. This is going to be his legs. So we're going to fold that in half and then cut it on the fold. And we want our dinosaur to have 4 legs. So we have 2 now, but I'm going to set this one down, and I'm going to take this one, fold it in half, open it up, cut it on the fold. So now I have 2 legs. Set those down, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other larger one. Fold it in half, open it up, and cut it on the fold, and I am done with my trash tray. So now we're going to glue our legs on, and going to be sliding them underneath the his body, like so. Add some glue, whoops, and slide it under his body. Okay, now the next thing we are going to be doing is gluing our poem on. And I can't fit my poem. Bummers. So I guess what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over and glue the poem on the back. And while we are on the back, let's read the poem. It says, Dinosaur, 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 where have you been? I've only seen you in books that you're in. Dinosaur, dinosaur, why aren't you here? I want to know what made you disappear. Since we're on the back, let's go ahead and you can write your name. And then we will turn that over. So we are ready to do the details on the front. And we're going to use our pen for it. Now this is kind of fun. So we're going to add an eye. Now and a smile. And maybe a nostril. Now if you want to make your dinosaur a girl, you can add eyelashes. You can add an eyebrow. Whatever you'd like. Okay, at the bottom, kind of like we did the elephant, we're going to make humps. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 for his toes. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now my favorite part. This time, what we're going to do is, if you've ever seen animals, sometimes they have kind of designs on their back. So we're going to add circles. And I am going to, so I'm going to kind of add circles around the edge here. And they're going to be thinner, and then it's going to get thick, and then it's going to get thin again. So let me explain. So I'm starting off kind of thin, so my area is thin. Now I'm going to go back and fill in the circles, fill in his back. Okay, so you can see it's thin, it gets thicker, and then it gets thin again. So there we go. Okay, so just about done with all my little circles. There we go. So that's kind of like, that's like a design on his back. Now if you wanted to, you could add more. You could add a few up his neck if you wanted, but that's all I'm going to do. Okay, so I hope you, oh, and if you want to add a ground or decorate it, you could if you'd like, or just leave it like this. I am not going to ask you to turn this in. This was just for you to do, and you can keep it at home and hang it up, but I would really, really like you to take a picture of you holding it and have your parents text it to me. Okay, have fun making your dinosaur. Bye-bye.